Hello. Today's topic is why personal struggles don't stop at work. Or if you want to put it the other way around, why inner work and self-development always also gives good chance that your performance at work will change. The thing is, work doesn't happen in some kind of parallel universe or vacuum or something. No, work is work and it happens in our world in real life. So if you have something that hinders you or where you don't feel comfortable with in your personal life, then the thing won't go away just because you do go to a different space, isn't it? And often enough, we think it's not like that because work is someplace different. And yes, of course, we do sometimes play our roles in an environment where we do perform on a professional level, but actually, you are not a different person just because you step into the office. You're still the same person. You still have the same nervous system. You still have the same beliefs. You still have the same patterns. It's all still the same. So why exactly would something that is a pattern in your personal life would not be a pattern in your professional life? Because we don't leave our inner world at the office door. It is there, always. It's everywhere with us. And let me give you 3 examples on what I mean, and maybe you'll find yourself in them, or maybe you see it for someone else. Let's say you have an underlying issue with your self-worth. That would be quite normal because a lot of us have that. Then you might have strategies in your personal life, something like people pleasing or fear of disappointing others or overgiving in your personal relationships. That is a pattern that could happen in your private life. So what will happen with a person who is like that in their professional life? Quite likely, they will be overworking because when you are in the people-pleasing pattern, it's really difficult for you to A, say your real opinion and B, say no, which means you are highly likely taking responsibilities for things that aren't really yours. Means you do more at your job than you actually need to do, or while you do your own work, you also do take tasks on that increase your workload, and you probably work a lot at home and in your personal life and everywhere where you can. You give everything, but that, of course, is a high risk for burnout, because if you do that and you never ever take time for yourself and calm down and quiet and just breathe and relax, at some point your body will not find the energy to do all that what you would like to have done. Therefore, the idea, or what I want to say here, is the root is always the same. If I don't feel valuable because I have trouble with my self-worth, then I need a strategy to give me that feeling. And the strategy is I perform. And highly likely, I overperform. I perform to a point where there's nothing left of me, where I'm completely burnt out. That's example number 1. Let's go to example number 2. Trust and control. If you have difficulty in trusting others and you are constantly worrying, like running scenarios in your head, how things might come out, how things might work, and you do need to control all the outcomes in your personal life, you will have the same at work too. And at work, that could mean something like micromanaging, where you do go down to levels of the challenges and problems that are probably not necessary, but you put a lot of effort into everything, looking at all the scenarios that could happen. And in some ways, that could be quite a good trait. And the thing is, all of those can be used as good traits. Like, of course, people love employees who overwork themselves because they give everything for the company. As an employer, yay. And on one hand, on the other one, as an employer, if you at some point have someone within your team who is so burnt out because they have overgiven all the time, it doesn't help you at all, right? So as an employer, you should be interested in having your people having a healthy relationship with themselves and with their role at work. Coming back to trust and control. So the person micromanaging, doing all the things, having problems with delegation. It's this idea of I have to do it myself because no one can do it as good as I can. If you can't trust and you do need control, there's no way that you could just give a job away to someone else and trust that it will be done in a good way, or maybe in a way that is good enough, could also be. You will, of course, stress around uncertainties and you will dislike change because that is all part of the, let's say, role for someone who is having troubles with trust and control. So again, it's the same root. If I don't stay alert, something will go wrong. And that is also one that happens with a lot of people. The examples I bring are quite general ones that a lot of us experience. The third one is emotional suppression. In private life, it would be something like avoiding conflict. Everyone should always be happy and feel good, and you are basically the peacekeeper of everything. So you push your own emotions down and quite likely have an idea of, I don't want to be a burden for anyone. So how could that show at work? For example, not speaking up in meetings, especially when you are at a point where you think, but this is not okay, or this is not good, or I have a different opinion, you quite likely will not express it because you want to avoid the conflict. So at work, this person would stay quite invisible and has a lot of internal stress, resentment, and maybe even shutdown. Because the same root is in private and work life is my emotions are unsafe or unwanted, so I push it all down. And again, this can probably be seen as something positive, especially in a workplace. When you have someone who is quite calm and quiet and just does their job, can be quite nice. But it could also mean that this person is internally so stressed out because they do feel quite differently to what they show you that they are always on the edge. And in some ways, it could happen, for example, that a person like this could get pushed over that limit. Like when there is there's too much pressure, then there could be an explosion. So what is happening with employee development for a long, long time is there are courses to train your skills. For example, communication skills or confidence training, or name it. You name it, what you have already been trained in. And my question to you is, did it work? Because the thing is, yes, it's really good if we have certain skills and if we train them to a good level. I will never say anything against it. The only problem is if you skill these professional training skills like communication or confidence, then it's basically another mask, another role that you're taking on and that you're playing, because underneath you're not working on the root cause. You can have great communication, but if you feel horrible when you have to speak in public or something, the feeling will always be bad. Or you can try confidence training, but if your self-worth is still shaky, that feeling that you have underneath, underlying, that bothered you in the first place will still be there. You just mask it and, put the role above it. So the thing is, change always needs to include the subconscious or the automatic brain, and it always needs to include your body and your emotions. And that is where I work with hypnosis. It doesn't necessarily have to be hypnosis, but you should use a technique that includes the body, that includes the nervous system, and that includes something that helps you with the emotions involved. In hypnosis, I always do that in every session because hypnosis works below the rational level. It always supports the nervous system to regulate. And in every session, we will go through old patterns and dissolve them, and then have a new, safe, efficient, easy, lighter feeling. Everything that you do on your personal development, the emotional resilience training, the stress management, self-regulation training, all of that will help you feel safer inside. And then your performance at work will improve naturally. And that is actually what you and your employer should be looking for. So to sum it up, in your personal life and in your work life, you are the same person. If you have struggles here, you will have struggles there. If you resolve the struggles that you have in your personal life, you can take the benefits and use them in your work life. And that is what I would like to share with you or do with you. If you are an employee and feel like, oh yes, I have trouble with, for example, people pleasing, and I can feel that it does hinder my performance at work, I could be way better there if I would just be more confident, then get in touch with me. And if you're an employer, it's the same for you. When your employees feel safer inside themselves, then performance improves naturally. And that is why something that you might not have considered in the first place as development on a professional base is there in just probably a different set of clothes. If you want to explore this further, feel free to reach out and learn more about my work. Get in contact with me because change is possible. We don't have to stay the way we are, especially when we are not happy with that way.